Hey friends, how are you? Let's go live on Instagram here. All right, here we go. How you guys doing? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to my kitchen. So if you've been following me for a while, I'm Dr. Simran. You know that I come live on Wednesdays to cook. Sometimes I'm making my lunch, sometimes I'm making dinner, sometimes I'm just showing you guys, easy things that you can make in the kitchen. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Usually my mom is live with me, and lately she just hasn't been showing up. She's in the comments, but she's not been showing up. So I'm my own. My journey to where I am today started with plant-based nutrition. It was one of the main things that I changed in my lifestyle first when I found out about my BRCA1 genetic mutation that radically increased my lifetime risk of cancer. And so that sent me down 10 years ago, sent me down this path of lifestyle is medicine, mindset is medicine, and food is such a big part of that. I'm super excited because I actually am launching my first challenge, 1 month long challenge, and we are kicking off our first coaching call on Friday. The challenge starts on Saturday. I'll talk a little bit about it at the end of this live, but if you're interested in learning more about it, comment challenge once either in the comments here, or once you see the recording. If you're interested, I can tell you more. It's not too late to join, and we would love to have you. So what am I making today? I've really been trying to focus on getting in more greens. So for lunch, I usually try to have a salad. And I've been trying to optimize my protein and try to get at least a minimum of 30 grams of protein per meal for a couple of reasons. Number one, protein is really, really important, especially as we age, because as we age, we lose 1 to 2% of our muscle mass per year and end up gaining 1 to 2 pounds of fat mass per year. And, muscle mass is super important to optimize our our bone mass, our muscle, and just keeping us functional as we age. We lose muscle mass very, very quickly. And obviously, in order to make muscle, in order to optimize recovery from working out and things like that, we need to prioritize protein. And a lot of times you hear people say, like, you can't get enough protein on a plant-based diet. I'm here to tell you that that's absolutely not true. You can get more than enough protein on a plant-based diet, especially if you are really eating a wide variety of different plant-based foods. So I'm going to show you what I'm putting in my salad today, and I'll show you the protein content in a lot of this stuff as well. So it's not hard to get protein on a plant-based diet. So I would love to hear where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. So what I'm making is what I'm going to use as the base for my salad is, and I don't have a recipe today, so I'm sorry, but you can just kind of follow along, get a sense. The way I like to make my salads is, whatever's in my fridge, I like to put in the bowl. And it makes for a really tasty salad when you add, all sorts of different things. So I have some boiled beets here, so I'm gonna add those. And beets are also really, really great for many reasons. I mean, they're a good source of fiber, vitamins, minerals, all the things that you get from eating any other vegetable. But what makes beets super special is that they have something in them called nitrates. And nitrates, if anyone here is on some blood pressure medications, there are some blood pressure medications that help dilate your blood pressure, your blood vessels, and so it helps reduce your blood pressure. And guess what? Beets are nature's blood pressure medication. So they naturally have something in them called nitrates. And what nitrates do is they dilate your blood vessels. And so it can improve your blood circulation. And beets are especially really great to eat as kind of a post-exercise food because it optimizes your blood circulation and so then can really help with recovery and kind of getting back to the gym the next day. So this is what we're doing. Camellia from Houston, Texas. Thanks for joining, my friend. Thanks for joining. So yeah, beets are super, super good. And because they kind of have a natural sweetness, kids love them. My kids will eat just straight up steamed or boiled beets. So they're just a great thing to add to salads or to any meal really. And then I have some chopped up onion here, so I'm gonna add that in. Onions are part of the allium family, just like garlic and scallions. And these we know are super, super, super great for cancer risk reduction, specifically. So I love to eat onions, garlic, and one way to prepare these, one important thing is there's a enzyme in the allium family known as allanase. And so we have to actually cut up our garlic and onions and leave them sitting for 15-20 minutes or so, and then use them so that that enzyme can get activated, and then we get all of the benefits of that enzyme. So that's just a trick. Let's see. I'm so glad I discovered you, Dr. Malhotra. Hello from Toronto. Loa Food. Hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate that. That's so sweet. Guys, I worked in palliative care for 10 years. In the hospital setting. And so in July, I decided to leave kind of the traditional clinical medicine world for so many reasons. One of the biggest being that we just didn't focus enough on proactive measures to help people not just like reduce their risk of disease, but really live a full life, right? Like and in order to live a full life, you need a healthy body, right? Because the body here, like I tell my kids, is the primary vehicle to every single thing we want in this life. And what I was struggling with in palliative care is that, and the U.S. reports show this. There was a huge report that came out last year that showed, despite the US, where I live, even though I'm from Canada, I live in the US, despite having all the advances that we have in medicine today, all the fancy technology, the medications, the surgeries, all the things, we rank amongst the, most developed countries in the world. We rank at the bottom when it comes to how healthy our population is. So Americans are getting sicker younger and they're dying younger. And my experience in palliative care 100% matches that report. And that was part of the reason why I was starting to lose satisfaction in my job and felt like I had all this knowledge in lifestyle medicine and how to use food as medicine in the kitchen and all these ways to naturally support ourselves and heal ourselves if we already have some of these lifestyle related diseases, right? Like high cholesterol, high blood pressure, prediabetes, diabetes. These are lifestyle related diseases. No matter how much people tell me they run in my family, 70 to 80% of these diseases are preventable simply from doing the things that I'm showing you here, right? Focusing on the food you're eating, the way you're moving your body, the way you're managing your stress, the way you're sleeping, the people you're surrounding yourself with. And so as I discovered the power of lifestyle as medicine, I was like, okay, I don't think I can, I don't think I can work in palliative care anymore because I can't watch any more 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds dying from these preventable diseases. Like it was very difficult to watch, especially as you can imagine, watching a 45-year-old, waiting for a heart transplant because they were diagnosed with prediabetes in their teens and early 20s. And this is what's happening today, guys. Like our kids are getting really sick at very, very fast rates because of the modern lifestyle, because of the food that they're eating, the processed diets, the ultra processed foods. Pediatricians are having to learn how to manage high cholesterol, high blood pressure, prediabetes, diabetes in preteens and teens. I mean, these are not pediatric diseases. They never were, right? And yes, there's a role for medications in certain time and place, but for the most part, if we focused on our lifestyle and our everyday choices, you know, our bodies would stay healthy and thriving, and we could continue to, dream and do all the things that we want in this life. But we need this body. It's our vehicle, right? So just like we do maintenance on our car and we plug in our phones to recharge them, we need to take care of our bodies in the same way. Right. So sorry for my little rant there. Camelia says, I am an occupational therapist of over 35 years and have been vegan, vegetarian since college. Definitely, I have worked between regular hospitals and nursing care facilities. We have so many people coming into the hospital in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, very sick. It's the absolute truth. And it's wild because when I talk about it to people, they don't believe it. Yet at the same time, I have friends telling me that, they just heard of another friend or a friend's friend who had a massive heart attack in their 40s or their early 50s and just died. And you know what's crazy, guys? Like this is the mind-blowing part. Do you know what the first symptom is of heart disease in 50% of cases? If you know, drop it in the comments. The first symptom in 50% of heart cases is sudden cardiac death. Guys, that means the first symptom you might have of heart disease is just dying because you had a massive heart attack in your sleep or, during the day or whatever. But imagine, like in half the cases of heart disease, right? It's wild the rates at which heart disease is taking young lives. And heart disease doesn't just develop overnight, guys. Like it's the silent killers that over decades leads to that massive heart attack, right? 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. What are those silent killers? High blood pressure, high cholesterol, prediabetes, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, right? Stress. Even I tell my husband, I mean, and this is crazy. I mean, we've been working, he works in the ICU, so his stress levels are like through the roof for so many reasons. And despite living like a fairly healthy lifestyle because he eats at home and all of that, even some of his numbers were kind of trending up recently. And that was a wake up call because it's like, okay, even if you eat really well, it's not just about eating. It's like, what are you doing in the other aspects of your life? Right. So we have to find a balance. And I know it's so hard. Like, I get it. I get it as someone who, worked full time in the hospital system, married to another full time doctor, had 2 kids 18 months apart with all our family in Canada. Like, I was in survival mode for so long, and I get it. I get how hard it is, but recognize this that self care, putting yourself first is actually self-preservation. Putting your oxygen mask on first will allow you to not just live the life you want, but to be there for all the people that you love, right? Your kids, your spouse, your parents. And I think these people in my age right now, between 30 and 50, and that's really who I'm passionate about talking to now, because it's these modern parents in this modern lifestyle who are both working 2 jobs, who have kids, who have aging parents, who are trying to work, doing all the things at one time that they put themselves last. And this is for the mother and the father. Like I see couples going downhill together, right? And so this is so important. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about this stuff based on what I've seen. But yeah, Camelia, yeah, my best friend just told me last night, a friend of hers who's in her 30s had a classmate pass away just yesterday in her sleep. And she had a massive heart attack and she was a nursing student. I mean, guys, like we need to wake up, right? As a society, no one is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. And to go full circle, that's why I'm here. Like, that's why you're in my kitchen. That's why I do these lives. That's why, I'm on social media. That's why I'm sharing my favorite tools. That's why I'm doing this challenge next month. Like, so much of what I'm sharing online, honestly, is free, valuable information that you can take and just apply to your life. Even one thing will make a huge difference. It's the small things that you do consistently over time that will make the biggest impact in your life down the road. Right. And I can tell you, as a palliative care doctor, there is no greater investment in your health that you're going to make than your everyday habits, than the mindset you have, and the way you take care of your body, right? And Camilla will tell you that when you get sick, it doesn't just affect you. When you get sick, it affects your entire inner circle. Trust me on that. I have talked to thousands of families in my career and saw how their lives were falling apart because mom was sick, or because the spouse was sick, or because whoever was sick. It affects you emotionally, it affects you mentally, it affects you physically, it affects you financially. So if you take care of yourself, you're actually taking care of everybody around you in your inner circle. So just remember that. Back to my salad. As you can see, if you're new here, having these heart to heart chats with me can get a little intense sometimes, so I apologize. But here we are. This is real life, guys. Like, I keep it real. I like to keep it vulnerable. I like to share my like honest, raw opinions, because between my own personal experience and what I saw in palliative care, like, this is what the world needs to hear. Like, it's a true wake up call. You have to save yourself. We have to save ourselves. So, anyways, I'm adding some salt in here. I'm adding some pepper, really keeping it basic. Normally, it's actually really good to make your dressing on the side. I'm just kind of being lazy right now, but you know what's actually a really good idea is to make your dressing on the side and make it in an 8-ounce jar so that you have enough dressing for the week. So when it comes to cooking, yes, cooking is time consuming, but it's all about working smarter, not harder in the kitchen. And that's what I learned. That's how I've raised 2 plant-based kids. That's how we eat at home 90% of the time. It's meal prep, batch prep, work smarter in the kitchen. So I should be doing that right now. I'm just, because I'm in a bit of a hurry, I'm just going to make my salad. This book is great. Carly Bodrug, she's on Instagram at PlantU. Her recipes are so easy, super, super easy. But what I especially love is she has a whole section on salad dressings. And you can make any one of these. So these are 8-ounce salad, 8-ounce mason jars, and you can just double or triple the recipe and keep it in the fridge for the week. And there you go. You have a homemade salad dressing without all of the added oil, without all of the added extra calories, without all of the added sugar that you get in a store-bought salad dressing. Make your own dressing and you'll see it's the hidden ingredients that get us. Like, we think we're eating healthy, but it's the hidden ingredients that get us. So what am I going to put in here is some tahini. So tahini comes from sesame seeds, and sesame seeds are actually a really great source of couple of things: calcium, but also protein. So 2 tablespoons of this is going to give us 6 grams of protein. So I'm actually going to put 3 tablespoons in here. Could probably even go for 4 because I'm adding a lot of stuff. So if I add 4 tablespoons of garlic tahini in here, and there's nothing else in here but garlic, let's see, roasted and ground sesame seeds and organic garlic powder. That's it. So I added 4 tablespoons of garlic tahini. And guess what? That right there is 12 grams of protein. So for this salad, I'm aiming for 30 grams of protein. That's kind of my number that I go for each meal these days. Okay, so there's that. And then what else am I going to add is some apple cider vinegar. This is really what gives us the flavor. So I'll just put 2 capfuls here. And that's it. And then you're going to mix it up. So the tahini will give you the creaminess, right? And the apple cider vinegar, which is, you know, fermented, great for our gut bacteria, is going to give us kind of the tanginess. And then you can just adjust, you know, your salt, your pepper, whatever, however you want to adjust it. And then the other thing, so you see it here. The other thing I'm going to add in here, and sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye of the. All right, thanks for joining, guys. If you just popped on here, I'm making a simple salad with just whatever's in my fridge. So I have some boiled beets, I have some onions, and I'm just showing you how you can make a salad packed with protein. So in here right now, I have 4 tablespoons of sesame seeds, which comes out to be at 12 grams of protein. And then these are little hemp seeds. And hemp seeds are also a really great source of protein. So 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds gives you 10 grams of protein. So there you go. Just between sesame seeds and hemp seeds, we are at about 22 grams of protein. So these are also a great source of omega 3 and 6. So we have that. And then just for fun, because right now I'm in like a pistachio loving time, so I'm going to add some pistachio. And there's something about pistachio and beets. That combination is so good. There's this salad at the local pizza spot that we really love. That's like, this is the inspiration for this salad. It's literally they have pistachios, beets, arugula, and onions, and then they have there's definitely sugar in their dressing, but it's so good. So lately I'm like, okay, this is what I'm making. So it's a little dry. So what I'm going to do is I'll just add a little bit of water. If you want, you can add some olive oil. That's another option. And I usually add, you know, I'll add the greens on top. You don't want to add the greens in here because then they get wilted. And you can use any greens. I'm going to use arugula because I love the pepperiness and it just goes really well with the beets. But you can use anything. So see how this is like nice and creamy now? Super easy. And this would also taste good the next day. So if you wanted to, you know, pre-marinate this like this and take it as a lunch for salad, that's also really good. So all right, so that's what we have here. Now, what are my secret ingredients? How else am I going to, that I was talking about, how else am I going to add protein in here? So you have a couple of options. I love just getting, so Hodo tofu has just great tofu. They have marinated tofu as well. So this is like a miso tofu. I'm not going to use this right now, but the other day I just added a whole block of this tofu in my salad. And that was honestly 13, that was almost like 25 grams of protein, more than 25 grams of protein just in this one block. So there you go. That's like, you just add that with some hemp seeds, some pistachio, and some sesame. That is well over 30 grams of protein. What I'm actually going to do, because I'm going to go for a crunchy salad today, is instead of adding tofu, I'm going to add lupini beans. Now, if you have not had lupini beans, you need to go to the store and buy some lupini beans because these guys will change your life. So there's a lot of benefits to lupini beans. Number one, they are very low carb. So if for some reason, you know, you are, or, you know, whatever, if you're someone with like pretty bad metabolic dysfunction, pre-diabetes, diabetes, and really bad insulin resistance, these are a great snack and or protein add to your meals. Why? Because they're very low carb, but a good source of fiber and a good source of protein. And they're great for your gut bacteria. So we absolutely love lupini beans around here. So a cup of lupini beans is going to give you around 15 to 16 grams of protein. And like I said, that fiber is key. Like fiber is what makes plants so magical. It is probably one, in addition to like antioxidants, polyphenols, all the other things, you know, that you get from eating plant-based foods. Fiber is one of the most anti-inflammatory components of plants, right? So when you eat fiber, there's different types of fiber. So this, what makes lupini beans special, I'm going to add a little, around 3/4 of a cup. What makes lupini beans special is that they actually have prebiotic fibers. So prebiotic fiber is actually like, think about it as food for your gut bacteria. And so when you feed your gut bacteria fiber, and I say this all the time, keep your gut bugs happy and they'll keep you healthy. But when you feed your gut bugs fiber, and there's all different types of fiber, they create anti-inflammatory compounds that decreases the inflammation in your body. So that's one way that, you know, they help with inflammation. But feeding fiber to your gut bacteria, you know, does more than just inflammation. It also helps with your metabolic health and your heart health. Like we were talking about earlier, taking care of your heart health is super important, right? And so how does it take care of your metabolic health? Well, when you eat more fiber, and this is also true when you combine fiber with protein, but when you eat more fiber rich foods, it keeps you fuller longer. It keeps you so it keeps you satiated. It kind of cuts down on the cravings. It slows down the digestion in your body. So you don't have these constant blood sugar spikes. Your insulin isn't constantly going up and down, up and down. It's just kind of, you know, a nice slow curve. And that's really, really good for your metabolic health, right? That's really, really good to optimize your insulin sensitivity, to make you more insulin sensitive, right? Most people are walking around with insulin resistance, meaning they're eating all the time, they're eating all the wrong foods, and they're eating too much of the wrong foods, which is leading to, you know, an excess of insulin constantly being released. And so it's like when you're at a rave and it's so loud, the noise is so loud that eventually you go kind of deaf. If you're standing by the speaker, you can't hear anymore, right? So that's kind of what happens in your body when you're eating all the wrong food, too much of it all the time. Your body gets deaf to insulin because it's just constantly being released. And so it becomes what we call insulin resistant, right? And so eating more fiber, eating more protein is going to be really good to help make your body more sensitive to insulin. And you might be thinking, like, how do I know if I'm insulin resistant? Well, it's one of those things where, like, when insulin resistance progresses, at some point you will get blood work which will show, you know, high cholesterol or high blood pressure or pre-diabetes, high blood sugar, or diabetes. Now you know you have a blood sugar dysregulation, right? However, when you're insulin resistant, on the path to those conditions, the blood work may be fine. The blood work may not show anything, but what are some of the symptoms of insulin resistance, right? So you may be living with insulin resistance without actually knowing it. And unless your blood work, when you get blood work, it kind of, flags as red if it's abnormal. Your doctor's not going to say anything to you, honestly, until it flags red, because that's just the way we're trained in the conventional system. If I were you, one thing I would do is pull out all your old blood work results and follow the trends. So look at things like your HbA1c. That's the marker that looks at your blood sugar over the last 3 to 4 months, right? Look at your cholesterol panel. See if you can get something called an ApoB, which is an even better marker than cholesterol for cardiovascular disease. Check your blood pressure, and you can put them all in an Excel sheet or just pull out your old reports and follow the trends over time. Are those numbers going up even though they're not in the red? Are they stable? Are they getting better? What direction are they going in? And trends are so much more important than one number at one point in time. So you want to follow the trends. You want to know what's going on with your health, right? So that's blood work. What about symptoms? What are some of the symptoms of insulin resistance? So if this is you, then I would start thinking like, oh my gosh, like what can I do to make myself more insulin sensitive? So symptoms of insulin resistance include constantly being tired. You're constantly tired. You're constantly reaching for coffee. You're constantly reaching for energy drinks. You need more, something to give you like energy, especially throughout the day. Um, you know, you so you're constantly tired, you need naps, you maybe aren't sleeping as well, you have constant sugar cravings, like you, no matter how much you eat, you're still hungry, right? So you're eating all day, every couple of hours, you have cravings for sugar. Other symptoms of insulin resistance might be skin tags. You're developing skin tags, and or sometimes in the skin folds, like around your neck, under the armpit, you can get kind of dark skin. We call this acanthosis nigricans, and that's a symptom of it, of pretty bad insulin resistance, actually, probably even pre-diabetes and diabetes. So these are all the things you can do, guys. Like our body is so resilient, like it will keep going. We can beat it up as much as we want, and it will continue to do everything in its power to keep us alive and keep going, because that's what it does. However, you don't want to put your body in a state of crisis. Like you want to help it thrive, right? So there's a lot of things we can do to optimize our insulin sensitivity, right? Eat protein rich and fiber rich foods and meals. Don't snack all day. Consider circadian rhythm fasting. Consider intermittent fasting. If you haven't done it before, start with, 10 hours. Like don't eat after dinner, right? And then wait until breakfast the next day, or go for 12 hours or 14-hour fasting window if you can. And part of my challenge is we're going to be using my favorite tools to make fasting easy. So I can tell you about those. So intermittent fasting, strength training. People are like mind blown when I say, like, yes, when you build more muscle, it actually can help with insulin resistance. It can help with metabolic syndrome. Why? Because your muscle is like a glucose sink. It's a sugar sink, and it doesn't require insulin, unlike the other organs. Like, you know, the other organs require insulin like a key to let sugar inside the organ, whereas your muscle is like a glucose sink. It's a sugar sink. It doesn't require insulin, so it's insulin independent sugar uptake. So I was just looking at something recently. I saw it on Instagram. There was a paper that showed that even if you did 10 squats every 45 minutes to 1 hour. So say in an 8-hour workday. So 10 squats every hour, put a timer on your phone. 10 squats, guys, 10 squats, right? Like this, just 10 squats, okay? Every hour for 8 hours was better than a 30-minute walk to improve your blood sugar regulation, AKA can help with insulin sensitivity and reduce risk of insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. So building muscle is so important, not just it's like an organ for your metabolic organ. Like muscle is an organ, right? So the more muscle we build, the better we can regulate our metabolic health, and the better bone health we'll have, and the more functional we'll remain going on later in life. It's good for our quality of life. And I'm going on a total tangent right now. But yeah, so, and then other things, stress, right? So when you are in a fight or flight state all the time, you can eat all the plants you want, but if you're constantly in a fight or flight state, guess what? Your body is a survival species. Like your brain is a survival species, like creature. It will do whatever it needs to do to try to protect you. So if you're constantly stressed, your brain can't tell the difference between reality and imagination, right? So if you're living in a fear-based state all the time, you're stressed all the time, guess what's going to happen? Your body's going to think there's a saber-toothed tiger chasing you, and it's going to rev up your stress hormone, adrenaline, epinephrine, and that's going to tell your body, hey, we need more energy because we got to run, like we're about to be eaten, right? And so when your cortisol levels go up, when adrenaline goes up in your body, these are our stress hormones. It tells your body, you know, we need to produce more sugar. And so your liver starts producing sugar. It increases, you know, your insulin levels so that your insulin can help bring sugar inside the cells for more energy. Like, it's all connected. Mind, body, spirit. It is all connected, right? So those are just some of the ways that you can optimize, you know, insulin sensitivity, reduce your risk of insulin resistance if you have some of those symptoms I was just talking about, or if you even have metabolic dysfunction, right? High blood cholesterol, high blood pressure, your waist circumference is big, you know, you have prediabetes or diabetes. These are all signs of metabolic syndrome. And guess what? All of these things down the road lead to the massive heart attack, lead to the kidney disease, on dialysis, lead to cancer, lead to all sorts of chronic medical problems, right? So anyways, Doriana said, how do you feel about a hybrid plant-based diet with animal protein? There is no one perfect diet. We are completely unique individuals with individual needs, individual lives, individual everything, right? And so what works for me may not work for you. But here's the truth, okay? 90% of the population is not eating enough fruits and vegetables. 95%, 90 to 95% of the population is not getting in enough fiber. Okay. These are statistics that we know are true. Okay. 60 to 65% of the average American's daily calories are coming from processed and ultra processed foods. Over 70% of our population in the US is overweight and obese. Obesity alone is linked to metabolic syndrome, heart disease, and 10 different types of cancer. So whether you decide to be fully plant-based like me, right, and prioritize fiber and plant-based proteins and whatever, or you follow a plant-forward diet and you incorporate, you know, some fish or some lean meat, you know, it's fine. Just focus on getting in more plants because that is what most of us are deprived of. And most of us will notice a massive improvement in our how we feel every day and in our blood numbers and our metabolic health and our overall health if we just cut out all the processed crap that we're eating. So if you just focus on limiting the amount of processed foods you're eating, this is like the chips and the snacks and the cookies and the cupcakes and, you know, the sugary beverages, the yogurt containers, the Starbucks, like these things are packed with sugar. The other day I was at a party and someone offered me a San Pellegrino and people think, oh, it's just sparkling water. But if you turn it around and read the label, that little box of San Pellegrino or that can of San Pellegrino, the first ingredient after water was sugar. Okay? So that little can had 25 grams of sugar, guys. So, like, look at what you're consuming. Look at what you're putting in your body. You're not going to put the wrong kind of oil in your car, right? So why are we putting the food that is making us sick in our body constantly, all day? Eating all the time, eating all the wrong food, and eating too much of it. That is what is making us sick as a society. So whether you decide that you want to be completely plant-based or plant-forward or flexitarian or pescatarian, you know, focus on eating plant-based foods, limiting or avoiding the processed foods, the sugary drinks, and having good lean protein. And 90% of the problems, I promise, will go away. It's that simple. But most of us don't realize it because most of us, you know, are not looking at what we're putting in our body. Doriana, thank you so much. Of course, my friend. So anyway, so back to my I go on these tangents. My husband said I need a podcast, but like honestly, it's too much. Like I don't know how to manage all the things in this busy world of entrepreneurship and raising two kids and all the things. So here we are. So this looks amazing. It smells really good. And then the other secret I'm going to put in here and then I'm going to tell you is one of my favorite food groups is cruciferous vegetables. So cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, if you are someone who's trying to optimize cancer risk reduction, and February is Cancer Prevention Month, Heart Month coming up here. I'm a BRCA1 genetic mutation carrier with a high risk of cancer. So I always love to eat foods that we know have been shown to reduce risk of cancer, right? And so broccoli and all the other veggies in the cruciferous family are packed with anti-cancer properties. And here's the thing about broccoli. There's a compound that is produced when you eat broccoli called sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is is just anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It's been shown in studies to reduce risk of multiple cancers, including breast cancer specifically. But here's the thing: when you eat broccoli sprouts, you get 100 times more sulforaphane than if you eat a cup of broccoli. And I just heard Doug Evans. Doug Evans wrote this book called The Sprout Book. I heard him talk at Unleash the Power Within, Tony Robbins' event when I was in New Jersey in November, and his talk was phenomenal. So if there's anything that you can add to your diet, add broccoli sprouts. They are so easy to make at home, but if you really can't do it, then you can buy them. And this is how I buy them, literally. Just make sure that, they're good when you buy them. And all that's in here is organic broccoli sprouts. And we eat this every single day. Every single day. Super anti-inflammatory, great fiber, great for cancer risk reduction. So I haven't read this book yet, but I am very excited to read it because then I'll know even more of the benefits. And there's all sorts of different types of sprouts, which I'm sure this book talks about, but I specifically focus on broccoli sprouts because of sulforaphane, because of its link to reducing risk of breast cancer and other cancers. And then of course, because it's so anti-inflammatory and because of the fiber content, it's great for your gut health. And then of course, like we talked about, for your heart health. So that's what I'm going to put in here. It's totally fantastic. Keep talking. You're not on a tangent. You're educating. There's nothing wrong with that. Thanks, Camelia. I appreciate you being here. Sometimes it's really hard to talk to yourself. Like, no one's talking to me. So it's like, that's why I love when people comment, because then it can like help me go to the next thing, Otherwise, like, that's why I want my mom to come, but she wasn't feeling good today. So, so she didn't join, but like, it's nice to have someone to talk to. So, and you know what? I would even be open to it. Like, if any of you guys that join me often on these lives, like if you want to come live with me and chat, I would love that. I think that would be really cool. So yeah, I'm just putting the invitation out there. Obviously, you're not coming on here for consult or medical advice or anything like that. We're just two people passionate about, plants and fiber and, fasting and lifestyle medicine and mindset, and we can chat. And I think it would be really fun. So if you're someone that follows me and you join these lives regularly and you want to pop on live, please come join me. I think it would be great. So as I wrap up here, this is like super simple, right, guys? Like, and honestly, this salad, if I added some tofu, we would be at well over 30 grams. I'm not going to add tofu because I just don't think the miso is going to go with the flavor I have here. So instead, what I'm going to do is, I talked to you guys about my favorite bread last week, Ezekiel bread. Trader Joe's, $5 is the best place to buy it if you're in the US. Otherwise, it can get pretty expensive at like Whole Foods and stuff. But one slice of this has 3 grams of fiber and 5 grams of protein. 2 slices with some nut butter, 10 grams of protein. Like, super simple, right? And it's not about the one place you're getting protein. It's about the whole meal, right? So we looked at sesame seeds, we looked at hemp seeds, we talked about the lupini beans. I mean, this already is at 30 grams of protein between all of that. But then I will add my 2 pieces of toast. That'll get me to 40 grams of protein, and that's going to be a great lunch. It's going to keep me full until dinner. And like I said, I am adding 5 arugula here. So before I jump off here, let me tell you about my challenge. It's starting on Saturday. It is not too late to join. I would absolutely love to have you. I just printed my ebook, okay, 30-day feel great challenge. And guys, it is like 50, almost 50 pages. And what I put in here is all sorts of really great stuff. There is a welcome letter, my favorite quotes, a lot of reflection exercises. Here's our 30-day micro habits calendar. I'm a big believer of micro habits, little things at a time, done consistently will absolutely change your health and change your life. So I made a calendar with 30 micro habits that we're all going to be doing every day, and whichever one you like. And this is just a another thing to keep us accountable throughout the month. This is about the Feel Great system. And then I go in and talk about insulin resistance and ways to, what is metabolic, dysfunction, what is insulin resistance, and then we talk about different ways to optimize our insulin, what happens when we're eating all the time. I mean, basically everything I just talked about is in this book in a way that will make it easy for you to understand. Habit stacking, one of my favorite tools, fiber, plant-based protein. Oh my gosh, I literally just talked about my whole ebook, guys. Affirmations, super powerful. And then I even have worksheets at the back. So setting SMART goals, tracking your weekly progress. I mean, I'm so excited about this. So I'm going to be sharing this with all my challengers. We opened up our Facebook group and our WhatsApp group yesterday. I have put a lot of love and effort and heart into this. So I am super excited about it. And then on top of that, we're going to do a weekly coaching in the private groups every week, talking about all of these things. So I'm super excited about that. And then what's the system we're all going to be using? 10 years ago, my husband and I did the original Feel Great system. It is a science-backed nutraceutical system that absolutely is a game changer to optimize and support metabolic dysfunction, gut health, weight loss, even mental health, because you know what? Our mental health actually starts in our gut. So if you can optimize your gut, your mental health will improve. All right. It's honestly our first brain, but most of us don't realize it. So really, everyone in the challenge is going to be on this system, which is super simple to use, right? We have 2 plant-based products. Again, like I said, science-backed, really simple to use and put into your life. The first is called Balance, and Balance is basically what I like to think of my multivitamin supercharged. So it has all of your regular multivitamin stuff, B vitamins. It doesn't have vitamin D, but everything else is in there. And in addition to that, it has a blend of 7 different types of soluble and insoluble fibers. So it's a fiber matrix. You take it before your biggest meal of the day, which is usually dinner for most people. And what it does is it creates a gel in your stomach, and so kind of helps to reduce kind of helps with the digestion, reduces that blood sugar spike later in the day. It helps trap bad fat, cholesterol, all the things, and really helps with your metabolic health. This was a game changer for my husband 10 years ago. We did the 90-day program. He lost 24 pounds, reversed his high blood pressure, cholesterol, and his prediabetes. So, and then from there, we went plant-based and completely changed our lifestyle over the last 10 years. So that's a game changer. The other thing is called Unamate. This is a purified and concentrated extract of the yerba mate plant. So it's like your coffee, your green tea, and chocolate all in one concentrated tea, a yerba mate tea, because you get all the benefits of all of those things: chlorogenic acid, polyphenols, theobromine. These are all the benefits that you get for your mental health, for your metabolic health. And then it also naturally supports a hormone in our body called GLP-1, which, if you know of Ozempic, Ozempic synthetically, rapidly causes high levels of this in our body, which can then lead to side effects and, just rapid weight loss and muscle loss. And it's just not sustainable for most people, although there might be a time and place for it, particularly because it helps with diabetes. But For the average person, honestly, it's going to create more problems for you down the road. And so there are natural science-backed nutraceuticals that can support your weight loss journey as well. And so this is one of them, and it's really beautiful because it naturally supports our body's GLP-1 production, helps, a lot of my clients will say it helps cut out the food noise, it cuts out the cravings, it replaces the sugary drinks that you're drinking, and it helps make fasting really easy. And that's the trick, right? When we can add in some of this circadian rhythm fasting, intermittent fasting into our lives, like burn our own fat for fuel instead of relying on the sugar that we're eating for fuel, it is an absolute game changer. Like, we think we need food for energy, but once you've started fasting, you realize how powerful it is for energy and mental clarity and weight loss and optimizing your metabolism. And it's been a total game changer for me since 2019. I really got interested in fasting because of something called autophagy, which is like your body's own internal recycling and cleaning system. And that happens on day 3 of a fast. Now, we don't, with this system, we do just intermittent fasting. So anywhere from 10 to 14 to 16 hours, depending on what you need and where you are with your health. But with some of the other with the other nutraceutical program I use called Prolon, we do the 5-day fasting mimicking diet, and we tap into autophagy on day 3 and 4, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. So these are the 2 programs I work with, but for the challenge, we are doing this system. And everything, like I showed you, that ebook, the challenge calendar, the weekly coaching, the WhatsApp group, the Facebook group, all of that is free. I'm not charging people to be in the challenge, at least this time. All you have to do is order your Feel Great kit, your 1-month supply of the Feel Great kit, which honestly comes to $5 a day and is less than a Starbucks coffee a day. So I would highly recommend joining us. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Camellia, there's a doctor here in Houston, Texas that comes on Instagram, and it's called Goodbye Lupus. She insists on Ezekiel bread. I need to buy some. Yes, that's actually Dr. Brooke Goldner. She is awesome, one of my absolute favorites. If you are someone that has autoimmune disease, highly recommend checking her out. Her channel is called Goodbye Lupus, and she's just phenomenal. And I totally vouch for everything that she says. Love her. Minnie's saying, I love Ezekiel bread, super yum. And Minnie's also saying she lost 45 pounds in 8 months on the Feel Great system. Game changer, guys. Don't struggle by thinking you have to make radical lifestyle changes, in this modern lifestyle that we're all living. Just don't do it. I've been there. I've tried it. And then we fail on our goals. We're at the end of January. 85% of New Year's resolutions have already fallen off the wayside, right? Because we set these radical goals. So don't struggle. There are a lot of natural nutraceutical options out there that can help give you momentum, right? And once you get momentum with your health goals, meaning you have more energy, you're starting to notice your pants are fitting better, you're noticing improvement, in your everyday life and how you're feeling, that momentum will then supercharge your ability to make healthier choices. We all know we need to eat more broccoli. We all know we need to move more. We all know we need to sleep. These are all things that we have heard for our whole lives. You don't need me as a lifestyle medicine doctor and coach to tell you that you need these things. Most of us feel stuck, 1, because of the mindset. Number 2, because we set these crazy radical goals for our lifestyle that don't make any sense, right? So start with the first step, which is find a way to get momentum, reset where you are right now, and join a group for accountability, for support, and then go from there. And honestly, I haven't seen anything like this system in terms of that. So it is a beautiful momentum generator and momentum fuel. So like I said at the beginning, comment challenge, and I'm happy to share the details about the challenge, about the system that we're going to be using. Thank you for all the love. Dr. Sherry Chand, I am so excited for our podcast coming up. I love you. If you guys don't follow Dr. Sherry Chand Khalsa, you need to go follow her. Her food pictures are absolutely mesmerizing. I could look at them all day long. So go follow her. She's awesome. Cynthia, that sounds like a great ebook. I put a lot of work into that ebook. It's over 45 pages. And so if you want to be part of the challenge, it's yours for free. And comment challenge. I will send you the link to purchase your kit, and I will add you to the WhatsApp and Facebook group. Lily, how does this work with our menstrual cycles? I'm reading Fast Like a Girl. I don't have time to answer this right now, but Fast Like a Girl is actually a really good resource, and you really just want to make sure that you know you're if you're doing more intense fasting, you're aligning it with your cycle. However, I think gentle circadian rhythm fasting, which means like, after dinner, you're not snacking, and you're aligning with your sleep cycle. That sort of fasting, I think, is totally fine, even if you're on your menstrual cycle. I think it's just, you don't want to do the extreme fasting. So when you're in your progesterone phase, that's when you want to eat. And then after, once you started your cycle, I think my understanding is that fasting is totally fine if you're going for those prolonged periods. So that's what she teaches. And yeah, I think that's a great book. So if you guys have any other questions, shoot me a message. Otherwise, have a beautiful day. I have been on here for way too long and now I'm hungry. So bye, guys. Love you. Thank you. Bye.